He didn't just walk into the courtroom. He dragged himself in. It was like someone forced him to be somewhere he believed was beneath him. He was a young man, maybe 21 or 22 years old. Designer hoodie, gold chain, limited edition sneakers. His hair was perfectly styled. Not for court, but for Instagram. He sat down heavily, slouched so low his spine barely touched the chair. AirPods still in, snapping gum between his teeth. And right beside him was his father, older, tired, his shoulders heavy with years of worry. A working-class man whose calloused hands told his entire life story. They were two people from the same family, yet living in different worlds. The bailiff called the case. Judge Caprio looked up from his papers and immediately noticed the posture, the chewing, the earbuds. The disrespect was radiating from him like heat. "Good morning," Judge Caprio said, and the father replied respectfully, his voice quiet. And the son didn't even bother to look up. "Son," the father whispered urgently, nudging him. "Nothing." Judge Caprio's tone sharpened. It wasn't angry, not loud, but it was commanding enough to shift the air in the room. "Young man," he said, "remove the earbuds, sit up straight, and remove the gum from your mouth. In this courtroom, we show respect." The son rolled his eyes. He rolled them slowly, dramatically, as if respect was just a major inconvenience. The courtroom reacted with a subtle ripple. Heads turned, brows raised, and whispers formed, but were never spoken. Finally, the earbuds came out. The gum was spat out, but with a dismissive flick into a piece of paper. Judge Caprio watched him carefully, not with judgment, but with a deep understanding. He had seen this act many times before. He asked about the violation. It was an illegally parked car blocking a fire hydrant. A serious fine, a possible tow. But as is so often the case, the ticket wasn't the real issue here. "Your vehicle was registered in your name," the judge said. "Were you the one who parked it?" The son just shrugged, as if the law was merely a suggestion he could choose to ignore. His father answered instead, his voice breaking just a little. "Yes, Your Honor. My son parked there. I told him it was illegal. He said it didn't matter." The son snapped back. "Why are you even talking? I can handle this." But everyone in that room could see that he couldn't. Not with his attitude, not with his choices, and certainly not with the path his life was on. Judge Caprio folded his hands on the bench. "Young man, do you understand that parking next to a hydrant could prevent firefighters from saving a life?" The son scoffed. "What are the odds?" Nothing happened, and that's when the father exhaled. It was the kind of exhale that carries years of disappointment. Then he said something that silenced the entire room. "Your Honor, I brought him here. I insisted. I wanted him to face this. I wanted him to finally learn that actions have consequences." The son turned to his father, his eyes wide with betrayal. "You brought me here." "Seriously?" His father nodded. Quiet, steady, brave. "For years," he said, his voice trembling, "I've been covering for him, paying his fines, making excuses, protecting him from himself. And all I've done is make him worse." The son's tough guy confidence finally cracked. This wasn't about a parking ticket anymore. This was about a father choosing the hardest form of love there is. Judge Caprio's expression softened, but his voice remained firm. "Young man, your father isn't here to punish you. He's here because he loves you. Sometimes love doesn't look gentle. Sometimes love looks like accountability." The son swallowed hard. His jaw clenched. His eyes darted around the room, searching for a way to rebuild his wall of arrogance. But it didn't come back, not this time. Then Judge Caprio asked the father a critical question. "Do you want to pay the fine on his behalf?" The father closed his eyes for a moment, gathering strength. "No, Your Honor, not this time." The son stared at him, completely stunned, betrayed, exposed. "You're really not going to pay it," he whispered, his voice barely audible. The father's voice cracked as he replied, I can't keep saving you. If I do, you'll never learn. And I'd rather you hate me for a moment than destroy your life forever. And in that instant, the son's face changed. The anger disappeared. The bravado evaporated. His chin began to tremble. He wasn't a spoiled young man anymore. He was a frightened boy, suddenly realizing the world wasn't built to cushion his fall. Tears began to fill his eyes. He tried to hide them, wiping them away with his sleeve, looking away, swallowing hard. But the courtroom saw everyone. So, Judge Caprio let the silence sit in the room, because sometimes silence can teach a more powerful lesson than any speech ever could. Then, with his voice low but warm, he said, "Young man, respect begins with humility. Responsibility begins with accountability. And today, both have finally arrived for you." The son finally spoke, his voice so quiet it was almost a whisper. "I'm sorry, Dad. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a performance. It was just real, raw, human." The father started crying too. Two men. Healing in a place built for judgment. Judge Caprio nodded. "I am dismissing the fine. Not because you earned it, but because today, something far more valuable happened." The son looked up, confused. The judge continued, "You learned that your father's love has limits, but only because he wants you to grow. But he wasn't finished. I am ordering one additional requirement," Judge Caprio said. "This is not a punishment. It's a gift." The son waited, listening. "Today, you will spend the rest of the day with your father. No phone. No friends. No distractions. Just time, real time. Because he deserves your respect, and you need his guidance." The father nodded gratefully. The son nodded too, sincerely this time. As they walked out of the courtroom, something astonishing happened. The son let his father walk ahead, and then he followed. Not out of obligation, but out of a newfound respect. And that was the real verdict.